Can we talk some basketball, JB? Can we talk some basketball? Fuck.
You're kind of making my point for me, but go ahead.
Paul Pierce, man, came out again and was defending himself and basically speaking out on why he believes he's better than Dwayne Wade. Show the clip.
On my team, put LeBron and Bosh with me. I'm not going to win one. You don't think?
Ooh.
Yeah.
You got your shit on. You put me, LeBron, and
Isaiah Thomas said.
Me, LeBron, and Bosh. We not gonna win one.
Yeah.
We not gonna win a couple.
Yeah.
So I'm saying
that's true. That's true.
So I'm saying though, like who's the better 3-point shooter?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is he a better scorer? Is he a better scorer? Okay, he averaged more points than me career. I can shoot the three.
He's a better slasher.
I can post up. I can get to the line. Who a better scorer?
See, you know what it is, and I'm totally.
Yeah, it's just he was fancier.
Yeah,
it was just he was fancier.
No, what I'm going to say
Let's
is
break it down.
No, well, I'm about to give you your props, but because what happened is this.
This is a good topic.
100% good topic because
Wade was better two-way though.
What happened is that Dwayne Wade is flashy. He slashes everything. And what I seen was Doc Rivers say something about you one time, and it was like preseason when y'all practice and do other things. He's like, these young boys come in there and think Paul is slow, think he can't jump, think he's not athletic, and his skill set is so amazing, that he kills them before the season even starts, and they think they're going to come in there and do that. So Dwayne Wade looks more fancy, he dunks, he jumps around, but you have a great skill set, and I'll give you that. And what you made was great points. If you had Shaq for a year, you may win a championship. If you got Bosh and LeBron, definitely going to win a championship.
Like, come on.
Right. So,
come on now.
Whatever. Quite Mason, you was going to say something, Murder.
Yeah.
And I don't want this to be a knock versus Wade.
No,
Wade
it's not. It's not a knock versus Wade.
But I'm just saying, like, I think
we in the barbershop.
For a long time,
my skills went unappreciated because I didn't get to play with a lot of great players.
Yeah.
And then I got to play with KG and Ray past their prime. Okay, if 4 years earlier you put me, Ray, and KG together, you think we ain't walking away with 3 chips?
Right.
That's real.
So he said a lot there. He said a lot, and I wanted to kind of dive into that and break it down. And if Matt joins us, he can jump in on it as well. He made some good points, JB. I want to start right there. I think Paul Pierce actually makes some good points. When he's breaking down the talent that D Wade had alongside of him, obviously with the big three and LeBron and Bosh and Ray Allen even joined them later on. Even if a lot of the role players on that Heat team were amazing. And we know Paul Pierce for a long time. I mean, it was him and Antoine Walker, who was a really good player, but for a large part of his career, he didn't really have the right tools and talent around him to be successful. And they were still making the playoffs, being competitive. And Paul Pierce was always one of the better, ball handler, like this small forward shooting guard, in the league during his career, but he doesn't get the same love and respect because I think his body type and the way he did it, he wasn't like a high flyer over the rim. He wasn't that fast. He kind of reminds me of like a Luka Doncic almost in the sense of like how he moves and doesn't necessarily look the best, but when you really know basketball and break it down, he knew how to get to his spots. He knew how to get open. He knew how to put his body in position to get the type of shot that he wants. And he doesn't get the same respect as like a guy like a D Wade. And he makes a good point, but I still would say I believe D Wade is overall better. That first ring that he got, yeah, he had Shaq, but Shaq wasn't Shaq. He wasn't Lakers Shaq. He wasn't Orlando Shaq. I think he averaged like 19 and 11, which is good. But the Shaq we know was averaging like 30 and 15. So D Wade, if you remember that performance in the finals against the Dallas Mavericks, who was a better team, better record, better team on paper, they were down. The Heat were down, I think 0-2. D Wade went crazy in that finals run and led them to win the championship. So that ring to me holds so much weight on Dwayne Wade's greatness because he got that before the big three, before LeBron got there, before Bosh got there. And of that 2003 class that everyone was saying is one of the greatest draft class of all time, he was the one who got that first ring, got that first title. So I still put Dwayne Wade ahead of him. He averaged more points. It's close, though. Yeah, man. So I'm going to start there, JB. What's your opinion on what he said, though?
Man. It kind of shows that LeBron James underachieved in Miami, don't it? If you really look at it, I think it shows LeBron James really underachieved and is actually a hype. But anyway, we're not going to get into LeBron. This whole debate, I think Paul Pierce goes very, very underappreciated in the NBA. I don't know why a lot of people hate on Paul Pierce. I see it all the time, though. Paul Pierce is always getting hated on. Paul Pierce, I don't know if you look at that team that he inherited in Boston, wasn't very good. Before the stabbing incident that he got into, after, finally got Garnett, they got Ray, they got some pieces, Kendrick Perkins. If you argue, if Kendrick don't get hurt versus the Lakers, do they win again? That's the argument, right? They didn't lose with Kendrick Perkins. If you listen to Doc Rivers, they never lost a playoff tournament or round with Kendrick Perkins being healthy.
Hey, but injuries happen though, so I feel them. But everybody get injury. Everybody get hurt.
So what I'm saying is though, like, so let's say Paul Pierce wins those two there. Like, you're trying to compete. He's trying to compare Bosh and having those other guys in Miami. Do you know the head-to-head at all? Like when Boston and Pierce was there against LeBron and Wade and them? Boston, like Miami couldn't get past Pierce for a while, right?
No. You had it mixed up, I think. So LeBron and the Cavaliers couldn't get past the Boston. Yeah, it was, and that's why the big three got formed in the first place, so he could get past them. Yeah.
Head to head. I mean, here's the thing. Let me ask you this: who's the more clutch performer?
I would say Paul Pierce.
Paul Pierce, clearly, in my opinion, yeah. Paul Pierce is by far the more clutch performer. I think he's about 10 points better three-point shooter, and he's about 5 points better as a free throw shooter. So Paul Pierce is multifaceted in that opinion. I do agree he's more flashier. Dwayne Wade, speaking of Dwayne Wade, he's flashier, right? He's going to get to the rack. He's going to look
the rim better. Yeah.
I got to ask, we saw him without LeBron, all right? We saw him without LeBron, and then we saw him with him. You have to use those comparisons if you're going to compare the Paul Pierce thing. That's kind of my deal. Like, you're going to have to use those comparisons. Like, what was Paul Pierce without, and then what does he look like with? Because Dwayne Wade had those guys at one point, right? And then if you look at them, like, where do you see Dwayne Wade and LeBron in their peak? They lost to a Dallas team that had no big three. They lost to San Antonio. They beat San Antonio on a Ray Allen miracle corner three. I don't know. I think Paul Pierce does win more championships, but
you just never know. But like, and that's why I always say,
you can't compare those though. Yeah, exactly. You never know.
Yeah, because there's never no guarantee. I know sometimes you look on paper and you just assume, you put Paul Pierce with LeBron and somebody, they're definitely going to win. Well, we thought that he was going to win more than two. You know, let's be real. So, you know, they said they were going to win not 5, not 6, not 7. They won 2. So there's never any handout. You never know. You know, you can't go by on paper. So I can't assume that Paul Pierce would have won multiple rings. Only thing I can do is look at the actual facts. And you did have your own big three. And yeah, you could say KG and Ray were slightly out of their prime. They were, you know, it wasn't like the best of KG, the best of Ray Allen, but they wasn't that far off their prime like when you got them. Let's be real. That's the reason why y'all went to 2 finals, lost one in a game 7, close, won the other one, and then made it to the Eastern Conference Finals maybe the other year when I think KG might have went down and got hurt and Orlando had beat him. But that's not – he's talking as if like he got KG when he was on his last leg, and that's not the case. So you only won one with the pretty dominant big three, and then not even the big three. You got Ray John Rondo, who might be a Hall of Famer down the road. Who knows? Kendrick Perkins, you mentioned. Like, these guys had some cats. Rasheed Wallace, like, they had some cats on that Southern scene. And I could argue that team is the reason why we're seeing so many of these big threes forming, and the Heatles and the Phoenix Suns now. Like, the reason you're seeing that is because of that Southern scene. So I say all that to say this, man. I think Paul Pierce deserves more respect in the overall rankings and how we view him as an all-time great, but I still don't think he's better than Dwayne Wade from an athletic standpoint, from a slasher standpoint, from Paul Pierce is a better big shot maker. Like again, like if it's game on line and I need a bucket right now, I'm gonna give it to Paul Pierce. But D Wade's a guy who in the fourth quarter would turn it on. He might not necessarily make the game-winning shot per se, but he'll get 14 points in the fourth quarter. He'll get 12. You know what I'm saying? Like he would dominate late in the games in order to get over the hump. And that first ring that he got, there was no big three. There was no like that Heat team wasn't like a cheat code. It wasn't like that was just a normal regular team. And Dwayne Wade led them to a ring at like 24 years old in the same conference that the Celtics play in the East. So you could have stopped them, and you didn't do it. So I gotta give that to D Wade, and I gotta get that ring right there, man. JB's always going to me lift him up higher when it comes to the all-time greats.
Yeah, I mean the debate is kind of crazy. It's just really it's just a debate. It's just an opinion, and it's just like objective. It's subjective. I take Pierce. All things equal, I take Paul Pierce. That's just my personal opinion. All things equal.
He's from LA, so I feel it. I understand it.
Yeah, we played against each other in high school. Inglewood. The thing is, if all things were equal, I'm taking Paul Pierce because he can get me more on offense and on defense. If you give me LeBron and Bosh and all these guys Dwayne Wade had, I don't really need him on defense.
But D Wade was. I'm glad you brought that up. He was a better defender than Paul Pierce. He could slide the feet a lot better.
That's my point, though. All things equal, you also have a lot of help. You also have a lot of help on defense. Like they had a lot of help on defense. Where in Boston, you really had Big Baby, Kendrick Perkins, and KG as rim protectors. Miami had a lot more perimeter defense.
I'm about to say, like, KG.
No, I'm saying
some dogs. Rondo was a good defender, long ass arms. Like
Boston inside perimeter wise though, it allows they're different styles of player though. You can't ever compete. Like Dwayne Wade was allowed to come off the back and block shots and come off and roam and get steals. Paul Pierce wasn't doing that. Paul Pierce had to play the position kind of like depending on a Rondo or somebody making a huge play. Like, I don't know if if you can even compare. The styles are completely contrasting. Paul Pierce can create a shot more stagnant. Dwayne Wade couldn't get his own shot, in my opinion. He had to drive to the rack and get his own shot that way. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying like.
Yeah, I feel you. It's a little different. Paul Pierce had a deeper bag. Yeah. He had a deeper bag.
Dwayne Wade cross you over and take you to the rack. But as far as offensive skill set, up and under, left hand, all the different things, get to the free throw line, make the free throw. Dwayne Wade was a bad free throw shooter. He was a horrible three-point shooter. Paul Pierce was much better at the ISO game, right? Like, in my opinion. So it's a hard comparison. What I do not think is right is the slander Pierce gets because of who he is. Like, I think people think he's like a shit talker. He's he's out there. He's got bitches on his podcast talking shit. Like he's got all this weird. He got that narrative, like me, right? I got that narrative. You got these people that have these narratives that are always going to be looked at differently, right, wrong, or indifferent. In my opinion, because of what you say. And Paul Pierce says what he's on his mind. He gets Jalen Hurts. He gets Jalen Rose all hot on ESPN years ago, talking about numbers, talking about comparisons. Well, the comparisons aren't really fair when you have the players you have. Like, that's a crazy comparison by Jalen Rose back then. But I don't know. I think he gets hate. I think he gets hated because he doesn't think LeBron is the greatest thing since sliced bread like everybody else. So he disagrees. It goes against the narrative like me. And like our next guest, big Matt McChesney joining the show. Hey, Matt, I heard you go against the narrative sometimes. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Every now and then.
I like going against the narrative. Who's better, Paul Pierce, Dwayne Wade?
Dwayne.
We're having that debate right now.
I don't really think it's much of a debate.
Yeah.
Both of them are soft as fuck and had to be taken out of an arena in a wheelchair. So, I mean, both of them are overrated, but both are good.
Hey,
But Dwyane,
the debate is Paul Pierce wants to. The debate is if Paul had LeBron and Bosh, does he win more games than Wade did? That's his argument.
More rings.
More rings.
Well, I think if LeBron had Ray Allen, well, he did have Ray Allen. If LeBron had Garnett that whole time, I don't think that they go 2-2 in the finals. I think they're 3-1 or 4-0.
Hey, but I could argue this though. It kind of proves more that LeBron is a fucking overrated as shit. We're only winning 2 in Miami with that squad, if we really want to be honest.
I mean, he's not overrated. That's ridiculous.
Well, it's hype, whatever you want to call it. He underachieved. Let's say underachieved.
He went to 10 straight finals, dog. He's not underachieving. I mean, come on. What are we talking about? He may not be Michael Jordan or Mamba, but he's definitely not underachieving. I mean, that's ridiculous.
So 4 out of 10 is overachieving?
Okay, LeBron's an underachiever. He went to 10 straight finals. What a bum.
I mean, that's what the definition is.